I like to start these videos by saying it's day number 9 million in shelter in place order. And it is also the beginning of May. And I don't know about you, but I feel hopeful for
I agree.
what is happening. And even though we don't really know what the end is going to look like of the situation, I feel very hopeful. So Stefanie, thank you for taking the time today to chat.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, my pleasure. I think Sonoma County Professional Women really insists on living into our value proposition, which is support, inspire, and grow women, professional women in Sonoma County. And in this time, I think it's that much more needed to really live into our value proposition, and to, especially for women and especially for professional women, not that there is a more of a need or less of a need, or we're measuring that, but professionals, because of the situation, have been so impacted. So I want to chat with you about your work, your life, how you've adjusted, and just what that looks like for you. So let's get started with just an introduction of who you are and what you do.
Okay. Well, I am a Sonoma County native. I was born and raised here, moved away for college, and then came back, and really started my career in the wine industry, and spent probably close to 12 years in the wine industry doing marketing. And then jumped over and started running the marketing at Mary's Pizza Shack, and was there for about 3.5 years, and knew that I always wanted to be on my own and be a consultant. And it was at that time, after the actual 2017 wildfires, that just kind of my perspective was starting to change, and I really wanted to be closer to my kids, and stationed out of Santa Rosa, which is where I live. And so that's when I started kind of getting the balls rolling to go out on my own. And I've been on my own actually exactly 2 years in May. So May is a good month.
Yeah, congratulations. Wow, that must have been a really big step to go from a place of, we like to talk about job security, even though obviously that is relative speaking. But to go from a place of having that security to making a transition to owning your own business, being a freelancer, a solo entrepreneur. And how did you make that decision? And do you feel like it was worth it?
Yes, it was definitely worth it. Definitely a hard decision and a big decision, and very nerve-wracking. I've been working out of the house full time since I graduated college and came back to Santa Rosa, and that's just all I knew. So taking that leap of faith and just trusting that it would, work and be successful, it was super nerve-wracking. I definitely freaked out, especially early on, that, oh my gosh, like, what if this just doesn't work? What if I don't get any clients? What if a year from now, I don't have one client, like you just, think of like the worst, and so, my husband was a huge cheerleader, and others around me, and they're like, no, you can do it, are already well connected. And so it was just like not letting myself get into listening to the negative voice in my mind, and really just kind of stay positive and work hard and hustle, and know that, like, as long as I'm hustling and doing as hard as I can, or work as hard as I can, then things will fall into place. Nothing's going to happen overnight. But I would say, like, probably one of the bigger adjustment period things to get adjusted to was just, working from home, and having this new schedule, and not being, one that's commuting every day and outside of my home. And so yeah, that was something that to get adjusted to. But I mean, I've never been happier.
I love how you're sharing this, because I'm taking notes, and there's a few things that pop to mind that are so common to all of us, right? When we make big faith, big leap, big faith decision, sort of like taking the leap, right? Is that how you say it?
Leap of
taking a
faith.
big leap. Yeah, leap of
Big
faith.
leap of
Thank
faith. Yeah.
you. Oh my gosh.
It's Friday, that's why.
I know those words go together somehow. A leap of faith. Thank you. But you were talking about knowing why you're doing this, making this decision, why you're taking this step. And I think it's so important for all of us to recognize that when we're taking a decision and when we're feeling like we're having to make a transition or we're forced into a transition, like we all are at this time, to really know why we're doing it. And you were mentioning the family cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
You called your husband a cheerleader,
Yes.
which for a split second I had to think about, was he really a cheerleader, or no, he was cheerleading you on.
Right, exactly.
And your inner circle, people who are just for you and saying, you got this, you can do this. So then you'll have a better chance, I think, as a woman, to really make it and to
absolutely
stay focused. You talked about hustle. And I think there's so many women who feel like they have to work so hard at their jobs and their careers and balancing their family lives and their personal lives and their careers. So I'm curious about that balance and what that looked like for you and finding that balance in that movement.
Yeah, so I mean, that was a key component as to why I wanted to be a consultant, is to have more flexibility for my family. My son just turned 8 today, and my daughter is 11. So as you know, like this age group, it's full of activities and there's lots of after school extracurricular things going on. And I wanted to be able to take my kids to those and not be flying in at close to 6 o'clock in the evening, trying to figure out dinner. So that was a huge factor into why I decided to go on my own. But I definitely had days where I was just trying to do too much. And I feel like when you're trying to do too much and be so perfect that you are just kind of skimming the surface. And so I just have at this point, and that was mostly when I was working out of the house. At this point, I've just, realized that you just do your best, and just allow yourself to just, if I don't make homemade cupcakes for a birthday, or if I don't do this or whatever, it's not gonna be the end of the world. It doesn't make me any less of a mom or less of a business person. Like, it just, we can only do so much. And I think at the end of the day, as long as, you have, you're just trying your hardest and doing your best, that's all you can do.
I love that. Yes, I think we all need to hear that reminder, even though we know it, we've heard it, we may have even underlined it in a book, and we agree, nod our heads, and still we need to hear that. It's okay to let things go, and it's okay to take care of yourself. And there's this expression that I've heard recently that I really love, and it's let me see if I don't mess this one up too. Letting perfect get in the way of good. Don't let perfect get in the way of good. And I'm thinking of your son's birthday today. Happy birthday to him. But
thanks.
All the things we're juggling, and really the end goal is for us to be present with our families, ourselves, our clients, and do good work. So if you are after that, then perfection can really get in the way of that. So I'm really glad that you spoke to that. It's something I think we can struggle with.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your work. And I'm imagining somebody's listening to this and is thinking about marketing, messaging, and the value of that, especially in a time like this. Where do they even start? And what are some of the things that you can talk about as it relates to that topic?
Well, especially right now with the current state of everything, I think it's most important just to be authentic to the brand's voice and to not deviate from who you are as an organization or a brand. And that can be tricky because you want to be able to be sensitive to what others are going through. And I think, for a local business or a service provider or organization, you need to be able to show what you can do for people out there. So showing the value or the assistance that you can provide, whether it's a restaurant now offering, grocery kits, or just, or now offering curbside delivery and pickup, or any of these things that can make people's lives a lot easier in these challenging times. Or even if it's, you can't operate your business, but just, being able to provide, a lot of great information that they can utilize, that they can go home and read, to help them try to figure out things, or just provide a positive channel of communication. So I think it's different for every business, but I think as long as you're authentic to your key messaging already, and don't really deviate from that, and don't feel that you have to do something just because your competitor's doing something one way, or things like that. I mean, I think I've seen that a lot.
Yes.
A lot of more like bigger brands, not necessarily anyone local, but just they're all kind of like coming out with the same message, and it doesn't always go over that well, I think, for some brands. So
yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. I think we've all seen the conversation, and sometimes you feel you're just being talked at,
right.
And it's really not a surprise. I try not to watch television very much, but I was watching TV last night even, and I was noticing that there were some commercials that were literally it's like a copy paste conversation. You have to wait to the end of the commercial to even see who was talking to you.
Absolutely.
So that it was so diluted, it didn't feel like it was personalized at all. But those are large, big, national, global brands. And really what we're seeing here locally are smaller brands. And I'm curious, as a Sonoma County native, what do you see, and how it must be so helpful to have been born and raised here, to really know the culture, our local community, our local values, and to see how you can support local brands to speak that language to our community.
Right. No, I think that, it's times like now, I mean, I love like reaching out and looking to see what like some of the big players locally are doing. So it's the Clovers, the La Tortilla factories, the wineries, and just kind of see like what they're doing. And I think that they're just like natural leaders. Usually they have really good messaging and really good on-point materials, and like Redwood Credit is another great example. I like to just see what they're doing as a good kind of frame of reference. And then when it comes to smaller companies, I try to follow a lot. Just I feel like locally, I'm sure you do the same. I'm trying to keep the pulse and really be immersed in the local news and local coverage, and following, getting on a lot of mailing lists, and following a lot of different Instagram and Facebook accounts to see what local companies are doing. And when I see things that are, wow, that's really cool, or there's multiple companies or shops or businesses partnering with others or other organizations, I just love seeing that. I think that there's been so much creativity. A lot of organizations partnering with Redwood Empire Food Bank, or Meals on Wheels, or doing just like so many cool ways to show that their businesses are still relevant, but then also giving back to the greater good. So they're not just pushing a sale, they're staying relevant, and doing good.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that that's what makes us community. I think during this time, we as a community in Sonoma County, we've had this experience, right, due to the fires. And you mentioned that a little bit, how the fires reoriented even your thinking. And I think circumstances do that. And it's really amazing to see what it brings out in us. My grandmother always used to say that pressure brings out whatever's inside. So if there's pressure and crisis, you see what's really what people are made of. And I'm so grateful to see that for the most part, the vast majority of our community is really community focused and connecting to one another. And I'm so proud to be part of that. Yeah. And as a marketer, for you, it must be so fun to get into that and dig into
Yes.
what a company is about, and
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
have that conversation with them. And yeah. So I'm curious, like, what ideal client? I think people who have a service they provide, we always think about who do we want to work with? And it's not even like a status or name kind of thing. It's more like what does it feel like to work with a person that you love to work with?
I don't think, well, first of all, I don't think I've really ever had like a bad client, but I feel that like
Good.
the ideal client really is someone that collaborates. They're flexible. They're open to hear what you're suggesting, or open to, you know, your advice that you're bringing to them. So I think that an open collaboration and open communication, I think, is honestly the best. I think that it just really depends. Sometimes I'll work with clients that they have so much going on that they really do not have much time to communicate and check in. They just have kind of just handed me the projects and that's it. That's all that they could deal with as far as communication. They didn't even have, they just wanted to kind of hear an update here and there. But then I've worked with clients that it's required you really needed to be more hands-on and in their communication multiple times a day. So I really just think it depends on the client, the project that I've been tasked with. But I think at the end of the day, as long as the owners or the leaders are flexible, have open minds, and collaborate as a team. That's why I love doing what I do, is that I get to work with so many different industries and then meet so many people.
Yeah.
And, we share a bunch of ideas off of each other, and we walk away with really great relationships and have some really great friends out of it. So
I love
that's,
that.
I know it's like an open-ended question. I know it's not like that exact question or answer for you. So, but that's.
No, I think it speaks to your values, right? I mean, when you're talking about collaboration and flexibility and respecting your expertise, I think that often, especially as contractors, when we go into a project or into a company that is established, their teams are established, it's really tricky to build that trust and to come in and to have suggestions where you're just, you're almost like a temp worker. You come in,
Right.
you don't really have that time and that rapport. So really building that through collaboration and create trust and have really good communication. And it looks different for every client. So I think your answer speaks volumes about your work ethic and your style and how you meet your clients exactly where they're at and try to give them exactly what they need. So I think that was an awesome answer, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about these times, and I mean, to be really honest with you, when I first heard about this shelter in place thing, I was at a client's office in Marin, and they were shut down first. They were sheltered in place. They weren't really shut down. It sounds so dramatic, but they were sheltered in place first, and then a couple of days later we followed, and it was 2 weeks, and I thought, oh gosh. And I thought, this is we can do this. We can do this. I wish I had known that this was going to go 8, 9, 12, 14 weeks, however long. And what that would all look like. Kids staying at home, studying at home, all the changes. So how have you navigated that with the work from home, which you've already been doing, but now all of everything that used to happen outside is happening inside. What's that been like for you?
Well, definitely it's been a learning experience. I mean, I definitely, like you, I would say like that first week or two, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through another 4 weeks of this or another 6 weeks, and I just, lots of funny memes kind of get you through it. But I definitely was just like, okay, let's just do one day at a time, one day at a time. Yeah. And so, and now I was just looking, I'm like, we've been doing this for like, what, 7 weeks already? Or maybe it's 8 weeks. I don't even know. And I'm like, how we got through it? Like we've gotten
vacation.
I know. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable how long we've been doing this. And yeah.
It's nuts. So, I mean, obviously, like, as far as like household things, it's just a lot of, grocery ordering, Target ordering, Instacart, that kind of thing. You have to be very strategic with planning out your meals and, you know, utilizing what you have and as far as your supplies. As far as work-wise, it's just, you know, you have to carve out chunks that I am either working or I am working with the kids on homeschool, and everyone's kind of spread out throughout the house working in their various spaces. And, you know, some days are difficult and I don't feel like I get really anything accomplished. And then some days are miraculously like a really good day. So I think just kind of like realizing that it's not going to be every day is going to be easy or every day it's going to be hard. It's going to be like 50-50. And then as far as like just kind of staying sane, making sure that I have like a, you know, a little bit of quiet time every day. So whether it's reading, yesterday I was gardening or exercising, or just, you know, watching some show on Bravo by myself.
Yeah, I love shows on Bravo. I'm so glad you're
yes. My husband's always like, I cannot believe you're watching this. But I'm like,
my husband says the same thing. They get the same. I'm like, y'all need to find something else to say.
Exactly. It's
like who? Like they watch sports and stuff. Yeah.
I know, but not anymore. Yeah. That's another thing. Now they're watching Bravo with us.
Yes, they are, because yes. Oh gosh, I love that you say that. I feel like people who watch Bravo are the same people, or it's the same type of person. No one wants to admit that they do it.
Right.
And it's like nobody wants to admit that they're a Celine Dion fan, and I'm like a crazy Celine Dion fan. And
she has a great voice. Yeah.
But it's like if you weren't a fan of hers, she wouldn't be as well known and the best-selling artist. So just admit that you love her. Just admit that you love Housewives. It's just so. Yeah. It's part of what we do.
It's true. And we all have to have like that little guilty pleasure, you know, like I know I'm not at all like these people on TV, but it's, you know, that's just my guilty pleasure.
It's my guilty pleasure.
So yeah, that's what gets me through it.
Makes me feel like, it's part that makes me feel like I'm, you know, I'm okay. I haven't thrown a glass. I'm not losing my mind in public. I'm okay.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm curious, what are you looking forward to the most once these restrictions are lifting and we're returning back to some resemblance of creating a new normal life? What are you looking forward to the most?
Definitely having more contact with people. I mean, just, you know, even going to the grocery store with a mask on, you know, I'm sure you're the same when you smile at someone and then you're like, oh yeah, they can't even see I'm smiling, you know, because I have a mask on. So they're just, you know, that human interaction and being able to see more of the friends and the family. I think that's obviously going to be amazing. As far as like just day to day, I know as a mom, I'm looking forward to more of like a schedule or structure. So that's usually, you know, when the kids go back to school, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that. They do better, you know, in a schedule like that. And so do we. So having that, I think is definitely going to be positive. Obviously, it's probably going to be not the same as it was, but just having a little bit more structure is going to be a welcome addition.
Yeah, me too. I look forward to. I'm an extrovert, and I get recharged around people. And my two daughters, one is incredibly introverted, and she's happy as a clam. And the other one, who's as extroverted as I am, we are like, what is happening?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Get me out of here.
Total change up. Yeah.
It's so, I'm with you. I want to, even if it's limited, even if we can't be, you know, even if SCPW's confab can't happen for a few months, because of this giant size of, you know, of event that it is, it's okay. I want to just be face to face with two people or one person. That would be great. So I'm with you on that. So I don't want to keep you too long. Planning anything special for him tonight? Are you making his favorite food or anything like that?
We ordered some cheese pizza per his request, and he loves
Yeah.
all things Oreos. So I made him like this Oreo pudding cake. So he's gonna have that, and then his friends are gonna and family are doing a drive-by and parade on our court to say, you know, happy birthday from a distance. So just kind of doing the best we can. I think like 4 weeks ago or so, I was like, oh, May 1st, okay, maybe it'll be lifted by then. You know, we can have a party, but no.
No, that sounds fun though. That is at least
Yeah.
an experience. When our children are old and have their grandchildren, they'll be able to tell about this time, and it'll be a good story and impressive. You know, back when I was a little boy, I didn't have a birthday party for a year. You want to drive by and wave. So
exactly, he'll always remember it.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because he's like literally never been this excited for a birthday ever. Like this birthday in particular, he's the most excited about. In fact, he woke up like right in the middle of the night just wanting it to be his birthday. So I was like, out of all the years when you're not even getting like a legit party, you're most excited for today. So we'll see.
Keep that in mind for next
year. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, hey,
we'll just do a drive-by
there. Yeah.
Stephanie, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. Real quick before we go, what is the best way to get in touch with you? How can we follow you on all the socials? What is that like? Give us your handle and your contact info.
Sure. You can follow me on Instagram at Stefanie Bagala _marketing, or you can go to my website and contact me through there, stephaniebagala.com, or you can email me at stephanie@stephaniebagala.com.
You are incredibly consistent, which is exactly what we expect of professional women. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this, and have a wonderful
It was my pleasure.
day. I cannot wait to see you in person.
Me too, Bianca. I really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great weekend.